everyone, I'm Mayuri from IANS. Today I'm in Manchester. Joining me today is Jim, the Director of Turfcote Nursing Home. I'm going to talk to him about his experience in recruiting international nurses with IANS. Really exciting. Hi Jim, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Brilliant. Could you tell me a little bit about your organization and your roles and responsibilities in it?
Okay, Turfcote's a 76-bed nursing home, split into two units, a dementia unit and a general residential unit. They're both staffed by nurses 24/7, so we have a heavy demand for nurses.
I'm sure you must have had some unique issues pertaining to your industry. Could you tell me a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, basically, we've got this job insecurity of nurses, and we need the consistency. You can't deliver person-centred care without consistency, and we couldn't have it. That's why we came to IANS.
I agree with you. What do you think is something that drove you to a partnership with IANS?
I applied for my sponsorship licence, and while I was in conversation with a nurse and her experience with somebody else you provided nurses for, she mentioned IANS, and you got a glowing report, so I phoned you.
Absolutely, I'm so glad you came to us. Could you tell me a little bit of the pain points that you'd say you experienced in running a home?
The biggest point is staff recruitment and retention, and the retention bit is the hardest. By the time you've trained them, they can move on, and it blows a hole in the whole establishment because you backfill with agencies that simply can't deliver that care that you hope to deliver.
I see. You've told me some of the issues you have in providing care. I'm just wondering, what services did you subscribe to with us, and how did we encounter the problems that you face, and how did we give you solutions to resolve the issues?
We still are in the middle of the pandemic, and I had staff going down and had to become hands-on. I could not afford the time to recruit and do all the paperwork, the complexities. I just couldn't have had the time to do that, and that's why I relied on IANS to do it.
I see. Were you looking at other vendors at all, other service providers?
Yeah, I've dealt with many agencies in the past, but to be frank, you're the best. You've the most comprehensive service from start to finish, from DBSs to interviews, hand-holding, that reassurance. It's almost like having a partner, a trusted partner.
Would you say you get every single service you would need under one roof?
Yes.
That's essentially what it is.
Yeah, and once you've established that relationship, quite frankly, you wouldn't go anywhere else.
We have started with the first batch of nurses with you. I'm sure you interviewed them yourself. How did you find the quality of the nurses we offered you?
They were up there with the best. I've had other recruits in the past from various European countries, and at the beginning the quality was good, and the references, DBSs and the service, but latterly the quality was very poor, and the consistency, the retention was awful. We need that consistency. I come back to it again. We need the consistency. Now, when we interviewed, it was like a breath of fresh air. We were pleasantly surprised with the calibre and the recruitments that were offered. I didn't only do the interview, my manager did, and she was very impressed.
Oh, I'm just so glad you are in love with our services. Tell us a little bit about the implementation. How long did it take for us to give you the nurses, and who championed this in your organisation?
I did more this time, although I don't normally get involved in that sort of thing, purely and simply because it was all hands on deck because of the pandemic. Perhaps it was a little longer this time because it was the beginning of my sponsorship, but even then IANS stepped in and their solicitors got an advance result back from the application. So once again, I wouldn't have known that, and it's your experience that benefits us all. So hopefully the next time it'll be even shorter than it has now.
I remember talking to you about a few urgent things for POEA and stuff like that. I'm so sorry I've been bombarding you with emails.
No, not at all. It was just normally I'm sat there and I can answer the emails, but there were times when, like I say, it was all hands on deck and I was on the floor, so I couldn't get back to you. So.
You know, you're one of the employers I really love to work with because you're quick at responding and you give me exactly what I want at the right time, and that's just brilliant. Thank you for that.
No, you too, because I wouldn't have known what answers to give. You fed me the lines and delivered it.
What did you do, or what plans do you have with the money, time and energy saved?
Most importantly, once they're trained up, I can then go back to the NHS and with confidence go into delivering some new contracts, which are inevitably here, are going to come. We've delivered in the past several contracts. We were piloted the discharge to assess. COVID has interrupted the next steps, but that's what we hope to do. Go back with confidence.
Would you be able to tell me how much money we saved you at all? Because you've been using a lot of agency nurses.
I haven't even quantified it, but it will be a lot of money. But it's beyond the money. It's beyond that. I can't deliver the services and keep this business going with agency. I have to have consistent, reliable staff trained up to deliver that. I can't even go in and hold my head up high and sign a contract. So that's really why I've got involved, because at director level, it's my responsibility to deliver the profits.
Absolutely. Did you have any, would you say, unexpected perks while working with us? Did you have any experience where we promised you something and we gave you that, plus we gave you something else on top of that?
The biggest perk is the reassurance that it's being delivered. I don't have to chase it. On the contrary, you chase me for answers.
Yes, that's true.
Because I haven't had time to chase it. You know, like you and I have been corresponding. You say, can I have this urgent? Yeah, you can, sure. I apologise because I haven't been at my desk as much. So the big perk, the reassurance is having a partner. I can remember one Saturday evening, and Ian rang me personally on a Saturday evening at home and said, look, I've got a nurse, he just landed, you can have him because I know how difficult times are for you. Well, that's having a partner, not just an agency.
100%, I agree with you.
A big difference, yeah.
I know I've been corresponding with you personally, and my recruitment team has been corresponding with the managers and a few other people of your team. How did our services, how did your team receive our services and your stakeholders? What did they think about it?
In some organisations, when you're dealing with it, you get a lead person and they deliver it at the beginning, and then you get passed on to somebody else, and usually the service falls down. It hasn't. It hasn't. I dealt with your solicitor, Gina. I dealt with Maria. The interview team came back twice when we had failed. And each time you get that same level of service. That's remarkable in today's market, not just in agency, in anywhere. Remarkable.
I remember the first batch of nurses we gave you. You interviewed them, you offered them a job, and I think 2 days later they came back and they changed their mind. What did you feel, and how did Ian manage to rectify the situation?
We understood. We really only needed 3, but there was a package there of a couple, so we took the 4. But I don't think the 4th was really committed to come to Turfcote, so that's why they perhaps gave way that word. But immediately we were offered another 4, we interviewed 4, and quite frankly we could have took the whole 4, but I can only take so many. But once again, even though we needed 3, we took the 4 because we were so impressed. Some we just interviewed for, you know, you just want to see them, but you're impressed with them all. So the caliber's there, it's just a capacity.
Our viewers are business owners and care providers like yourself. Some of them are planning on recruiting internationally but don't know how. Others have already started recruiting, but it takes them 6 to 12 months to finish everything from start to finish, and during the pandemic maybe longer. But you guys did it in 4 to 6 weeks. That's just brilliant, and that's amazing. What would you advise to these care providers if they also want the same result as yours?
They can't wait that long. It's just impossible. You asked about cost before. It's about revenue generation. You can't do that. Your reputation will fall through the floor. You have to get on board. You have to get on board with IANS if they're delivering it at 4 to 6 weeks. The only extra delay I had was my initial sponsorship license application. But next time, 4 to 6 weeks, you could predict that. Most of your notice periods could cover that. So that's a good service. That's what it's all about.
Thank you so much, Jim, for agreeing to share your story and experience with us.